Hi, I'm Jim Hall. On this edition of 15 News, we check in on the goings-on of the Juneteenth celebration. Then we visit Carpenter Lake and take part in a wonderful fishing derby. Then we go check out the Rouge cleanup that goes on every year, and this year was a very special event. Stay tuned for that and so much more on this edition of 15 News. In Southfield, we celebrate Juneteenth big, a whole week of celebrations. Let's take a look at a few of the events that went on during the week to celebrate and honor Juneteenth.
This is our official start of Juneteenth week. You know, we don't do a day in Southfield, we do a whole week. So this is the kickoff of our Juneteenth week-long celebration. Today we're raising a Juneteenth flag, and then we have a concert in the library with a Juneteenth theme. It's called Jazz and Blues at the library. And then the next several days between Parks and Rec, the Southfield Historical Society, the library, and Lawrence Tech and our Business Accelerator, and the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Omega chapter, the local chapter. We have come together with a whole series of events to mark this occasion. It's history, it's culture, it's art, it's music, it's dance, it's literature. We do a whole wraparound, and actually we do some reenactments of historical figures tied to Juneteenth.
Dozens of anglers of all ages came out to the Fishing Fun Day. It took place at the beautiful Carpenter Lake Nature Preserve, which is an excellent spot for first-timers, and the perfect opportunity to catch some fish while catching some valuable family time.
So today we're having our annual Fishing Fun event. It's free fishing for the weekend at any of the fishing places anywhere in Michigan. You don't have to have a license. So we've got our Carpenter Lake here, Nature Preserve, and it's a beautiful location for fishing, and it's a great way to introduce your family to fishing.
The Carpenter Lake Nature Preserve also has scenic trails and so much more for a little local adventure in the great outdoors. Next up, we're going to visit Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day celebrates all things comics. And one of the main things they're trying to do, it's a national celebration, is bring back the love for comics, for kids and even adults. So let's take a look at this really fun event.
Free Comic Book Day is the equivalent of Baskin-Robbins Free Ice Cream Day. It is a great intro to comic books for people of all ages. There's books for every age group. So if you have children who are just starting to read, we have some beginner level books. They also have mature books. They have the whole spectrum of books. So if you wanted to get your kid into Sonic the Hedgehog, this year was a great year. They had a Sonic the Hedgehog book. If you want to see your children read and you want to introduce them to the love of comics that you had or your dad had, this is a great time to bring them in. We see it as an investment in the future, in future readers and leaders, in future collectors, and it's just a great thing for the industry.
I know, you're upset you missed Free Comic Book Day, but we've got a great resource at our fingertips, our library. Head on over there. They've got a great section of comics and graphic novels, and you can catch up on what you think it is you might like, and then come next year, you'll be ready for Free Comic Day. Now let's switch gears a little bit and learn a little bit more about our pets' health with our friends over at Premier Pet Supply.
I get a lot of customers that come in our stores and they want to ask me whether or not I feel that their dog may be overweight or not. And sometimes you can tell by appearances, and sometimes it's by their just physical nature in general. Some people have recognized and noticed that the dogs seem to be panting more. We've got some warmer weather out there, and that can easily be confused by it being hot outside. It could absolutely be from the dog potentially being out of shape, carrying some extra weight. Some physical traits that you can look for is a shape to the dog that actually is a little more of like a half of an hourglass. You want to be able to feel the ribs but not necessarily see the ribs, and you don't want a sausage type look where the dog's about the same width all the way from front to back. Things to think about is how you're feeding in your food. You can feeding a fantastic food and going off the feeding recommendations on the back of that bag, but keep in mind that's just a general recommendation. You want to cater that feeding to your dog's activity level. If your dog is overactive and runs like crazy and does agility and actually jogs outside with you and goes for long walks, you might want to feed a little bit more food than what's recommended. But if your dog's more sedentary, has a propensity to lay around the house and not be quite as active, you want to cut that food recommendation back. It makes a huge difference. Other things to think about would be treats. How many treats you're giving. That factors into the amount of food that you're feeding. If you feed a lot of treats throughout the day, if you're doing training or whatever it may be, cut back on the food that you're feeding as well. Makes a big difference. Things to give in lieu of treats to keep your dog happy would be green beans. You can easily do that from home. Carrots as well. Carrots can sometimes have a little extra sugar, but green beans and carrots make a great alternative snack to a diet to help maintain weight without causing any type of overweight issues. These are some things to think about along with just getting out there and exercising. As the dogs age, hip and joint health is key, so if you're getting out there and exercising but the dog seems to be struggling, finding a good all-natural supplement that has glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, which is an anti-inflammatory, things like turmeric are fantastic to really help keep the inflammation down, keep the fluidity of the hip and joint and everything working in conjunction with one another, so you can have a dog that can get out there and be more active without the discomforts of the aches and pains that come along with getting older. Things to think about as well would be good gut health. So if you get the digestive system working properly, they're digesting the food and getting the nutrients that they are supposed to through that food, they're just a lot healthier for it, and they actually will show that in their weight and their activity levels as well.
The Friends of the Rouge gathered for their yearly event, the River Rouge Cleanup. It's always a wonderful event that brings out all types of people, all types of groups come together to help work on the land and keep the Rouge clean. Let's take a look at this year's celebration. This season, they set their sights on invasive plant species that plague the trails and banks of the Rouge River, which continues to threaten native plants and wildlife in the area. This includes the removal of garlic mustard, which is frequently found near Michigan waterways.
Defining, really, we are preserving nature. We're not providing picnic tables and ball fields and bathrooms and that. We are providing nature. So it's 16 acres along the Rouge. Mr. Berberian, Ara Berberian, who sold this property to the city. It's city-owned, nature preserve, quiet, solitude, natural area, and probably most importantly, a place for the wildlife. Health of the Rouge. We're trying to preserve something that's natural and native.
We've cleaned up the Rouge again, and we need to continue to keep that Rouge clean. There's more we can be doing for the environment. Let's visit our friends at the library and learn about this wonderful series and presentation about the pollinators.
The importance of saving our pollinators started with the information I found out that the monarch butterfly was in decline by 90%. And from there I learned so much more of the benefits that they provide. And one of them is they pollinate 1/3 of our food supply. And it's foods that we like cherries and apples and grapes and the avocados. And maybe not all of them are here in Michigan, but all the pollinators across the globe are in decline by up to 40%. And the monarch butterfly is the canary in the mine. When people ask me, what is the one thing you can do? First of all, I tell them this is an ecologically solvable problem that anyone can participate in. The easiest thing you can do is plant a milkweed plant, because that is the host plant that the monarch butterfly lays its eggs on, and it's the only plant that the eggs will turn into caterpillars and eat the leaves and survive. So if you can save the monarch butterfly with the milkweed plant, you can save other pollinators.
I don't know about you, but when summer comes, I love to get outside and I love to start planting. Well, summer is here, and our friends at Mary Thompson Farms have all kinds of summer classes you can partake in to learn about farming and gardening.
So we have some awesome new programs over here at Mary Thompson Farm. Things that you can take home with you when you're done, classes, there are workshops. We had a garden design class earlier in the year, but now we're doing more pot gardens that you can take home. We have a fairy garden coming up. Today we did a Cajun herb garden that you can take home and put on your patio. And Ed, who's the instructor, also comes with a wealth of knowledge. He can tell you all about the history of all these different gardens and herbs and plants and where they come from, where they're going, who made them, how to prepare them. So if you want to sign up for a class, you should look at our activities guide. It's also on our city website and our Facebook page. We post our classes, but we also have flyers that we'll be passing out for different parts of the year, because this is just for the first part. And you can register either online or you can call 248-796-4620 and speak with one of the ladies at the front desk, and they can help you register.
Let's close this piece of 15 News out by visiting an old friend, Curtis Lewis. Curtis has been on multiple times sharing with us some of his amazing art. This time, he has a world premiere for his new piece, Breathless. Let's take a look.
But somebody got to say, somebody got to do something. And I said, how do I speak out about this injustice? And the Lord said, not with your mouth, not with your lips. I want you to speak out with your hands. For I have appointed and anointed you to get a word out to my people. Well, what we're trying to do is remember the second year anniversary of George Floyd. But in addition to that, we decided to do something out of our Justice for All collections, because there's other things that are going on at the same time. For instance, we decided to bring out the Anne Frank painting as well, because she's part of injustice situation, and it's been about 75 years since her death. But this month, May, is American Jewish Heritage Month. And so we decided we wanted to combine that. And then we want to also include something current. And that's why we decided to do something with the Ukraine and President Zelensky. Because they're all a part of the same common denominator, injustice. I hope when people see the painting that it make them think about life in general and people in general, because oftentimes we buy into a lot of the wrong things. In reality, we all breathe together, we all bleed together, and in reality, we all love our families. We have far more in common than not, and all we have to do is respect others as we respect ourselves.
That wraps up this episode of 15 News. Remember, you can watch it again by visiting us on Facebook or YouTube. Simply type in Cable 15 News. And we really appreciate you watching. I'm Jim Hall, and we'll see you next time.